Hello, in this video, I'm going to give you a quick overview of GoGuardian, which is available for all teachers in North Clackamas School District. So a couple things that I'm going to cover today is why you should use it, how to access it, simple navigation, and just show you a little bit of the modules within the navigation. So moving forward, good things to know, your principal or administrator will send a communication letter from us about what GoGuardian is with some more specifics. So they should be sending that information, so parents should be informed about that. GoGuardian is only available for staff from 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And so that means that if a student goes home and is signed into the Chrome browser with their North Clackamas account, you potentially would see some of their work. Of course, we encourage you not to use this when they're at home if we're not in CDL during school hours. Of course, middle school goes a little bit later, so that's why the range is what it is. There is a guidance document that we have on our website that gives you some tips, and so we will include that in the YouTube video. And also important to know is that classes are already created for you if you have a classroom assigned to you in Synergy. So if you need to add co-teachers to GoGuardian, you can do that. Also, if you are sick or you're having a substitute, your GoGuardian can be accessed from home, which basically means that you can see the student's screen while they're at school, which can be helpful in some ways. But of course, if you're sick, you probably wouldn't be doing that, but there are some advantages there as well. All right, so moving forward, first and foremost, keeping students safe is the most important thing about using GoGuardian. It's not really meant to be a punitive thing. However, kids often will use things inappropriately. We do have safeguards required by law to filter inappropriate sites, but there's always a way to find information, and kids will often use this tool inappropriately. So it's just important for you to know that it is something to help support their safety, to keep them engaged and supported in their learning. And you'll learn a little bit about that today as we go through this. Why use it? We can protect students from harm by blocking or allowing specific sites. So if a kid keeps going to a specific site that is not blocked, you can actually block it for just that kid or all those kids. You can also in turn flip that and say, I'm going to only have kids have access to a specific set of sites. I would be a little bit careful about doing that because there are some websites that do go to other tabs and they may not be able to access that, but that again will be covered. We want to keep our kids focused on specific digital learning resources, and so if for some reason a student is opening up a tab real quick, playing a game, and then when you walk by they're looking like they're working, you can actually see where they are and what tabs are open, and you can send private text messages to them or announcements to all of them or a specific group of students. You can also, especially for younger kids, send out a specific link. So if someone's having a hard time finding a link, you can copy the URL and send it to one or all of those students, and they will see that on their screen. I also can freeze and lock student screens. So that means that if I can't get their attention or they're veering off in some other way, I can just lock their screen. They can't really go anywhere until I unlock it. I often can, if I see a kid doing something, I'll just close the tab as well. I have an open conversation with my students and let them know that we're using GoGuardian, so they're aware of the fact that we can see their screens, and that in itself can help eliminate a lot of issues. Just so you know, GoGuardian is not something that we use to monitor staff devices. If you go in GoGuardian and you are searching for a specific teacher's computer, you will not see it. You will not be able to see what they're doing. This is only for our students. Also, GoGuardian only works on Chrome with our particular Chromebooks if they're logged into the browser. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So if they're using a personal computer at home and they're not using Chrome, we would not be able to see this. And we'll explain that again as we go along. Accessing GoGuardian is easy. You can go to the GoGuardian website by searching for GoGuardian. And when you do that, you'll see this. If you're logged in with your North Clackamas account, you would select this. Or you can go to ClassLink. And so if you go to ClassLink, the easiest way to get there is to go to the web page and go here. ClassLink is the first page that students see when they log into a North Clackamas Chromebook. Once you're logged in, you'll see we have this here. And if you go to your district systems, you'll see that GoGuardian is right here. So either way, you can access that. I'm going to cover now. I'm actually going to go in and log into GoGuardian, and we're going to cover really just the most basic, the most used features. And when we get in here, this is what you're going to see. And you're going to also see I have a Chromebook that I'm logged into as a student, and you're going to see kind of a feel what that looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new tab, and I'm just going to type in GoGuardian. And it takes me here, so I can just go ahead and go here. I want to sign in, and because I'm already logged in my Google account for North Clackamas, I should be able to easily do that. So by selecting this, it takes me in. Now I have a little bit of a different access because I am an administrator in this particular resource. So I'm going to switch over to the teacher view. The teacher view is going to look a little different for you because I have lots of different classes that I can interact with. So let me just start off by starting at the top right. You are a teacher. You just want to take a look at these right here. Think about when you read top, left to right. So when I go to the top, I see classrooms. And classrooms are going to show me any classroom that I have that is connected to Synergy. So if I have a classroom that was created in Synergy, I should see it here. Now if you don't see it, you might want to go to pending. And you might see them in there, and you just need to make it active. And there's a prompt there. We'll show you how to do that. If you don't see any in there, your active classrooms would be here. Secondary, of course, you're going to see a lot more than perhaps an elementary school teacher would have. So you'll also notice that I have this at the top. So we're going to the top, going down. This is where you're going to spend most of your time, right here. 99% of your time here. Any classroom can have a scheduled monitoring session. And so this particular one, GoGuardian Amy, you can see it started at 8 o'clock and it's past 8 o'clock right now. It is automatically turned that on. That can be really nice if I have substitutes and my kids are on their computers. I can go back and I can see where they've searched, or if I am maybe at a conference, if someone is doing something appropriate, or if I want to send them a message, I can do that, even if I'm not in school. So that's kind of nice. So you can see I have a whole bunch of different classes here. If I go to settings, you're going to see right here that I can edit class. And the reason why I'm going to show you that is that if you do want to set it up, so GoGuardian just automatically turns on all day while you're working with these kids, go to your schedule. And you can see there are different options that you can have for this class. Now, secondary, you wouldn't want to do all day because other teachers have those students in their classroom. So only set it up for the days that you want. Now, you don't have to do this because sometimes it's not always Monday that you have day 1 or day 2. So, you can do that on the fly if you'd like to. So we'll show you that. But you can set up your settings in there if you'd like to. So the other thing is that you can change the name and you can pick different colors and such forth. So, if you wanted to put a star by that when you created it, you can do that. And you can say, update this classroom. When I go back, remember 99% of the time I'm here. When I go here, oh, look, it has a star there. And there's my GoGuardian class. So I can go into all my settings and set that up. The other thing that's really important about settings is if I do want to have co-teachers, I can add co-teachers here. You should not have to add students if they have been enrolled in North Clackamas. It might take a day or two because of Synergy and its rostering time, but eventually it'll be in there. If I do want to add a co-teacher or a principal or maybe an instructional assistant, I can do that. It kind of feels like you should be searching here, but you actually have to go here. When you go here, if you wanted to add a teacher, you can search for their name right here, and you'll see this role. And just like in Google Classroom, they're co-teachers. But if I click on this right here, it's going to show you what the different permissions are. So there are owners, teachers, helper, and classroom. So if I scroll down here, an owner has all the ability to do what I do. I don't usually give people that much power. Now, the teacher account might be something that you do, or a helper account, but take a look at those and see which ones you'd like to do. You can attribute that role by clicking here and then add that teacher. I'm not going to do this today, but that's a nice thing to be able to do. You would have to do that for each class if you're a secondary teacher and wanted to add other people in there. All right, so again, going back to here, I'm going to select this again. You can see that the active session that I have running is right here. But if I wanted to maybe open up another class, or maybe I have some special extracurricular group of kids that I'm working with after school, and they're using the computers. What I might want to do is create my own classroom if I want to. I can go add classroom, give it a name, a subject, and what have you. And once I do that, I can add students if I'd like to. So if this is the one that I created on my own, I can go click right here, and you can see that there are some settings right here. I can do my scheduling if I want to, and I could actually search for those students if I wanted to. So I could search by their name and add them in here, and then I would be able to use that. So you can make classes or classrooms that are outside of your Synergy accounts as well. That's a good thing to know. All right, going back to classrooms, or here, notice that was in both places. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And once you go into a classroom, you can actually start the session at any time, and you can decide how long that's going to run or when it's going to end. So you can do this right here on the fly. Also, if there's been any conversations between the student and you could see those chat logs here. So I'm not going to worry about applying a scene at this particular point. We'll talk about that later. But I'm going to go ahead and start the session. When I start the session, you're going to start noticing up here that I have two sessions running at the same time. So GoGuardian is on and Create My Own is on. And Create My Own is currently viewed. And you can see that that is right here, currently viewing. And I can see that there's a student here on their Chromebook. And it looks like they're looking at YouTube videos. All right. I also can see that they have some other tabs open, which can be very helpful. And as you hover over those, it's going to give you a little bit more detail. You can actually open that link if you want to. If you only have a small amount of kids, you can make this bigger or smaller if you'd like. You can actually click on this as well. And when you click on this as well, you get some more options. You can see the tabs that are there. So if I didn't really want them to be on a specific thing like this, I could actually close it. So watch what happens when I close that. I closed it, and now I can see, oh, that this is the document that they are now on. And so I could close that. So that active tab is up there. Other tabs are open here. All right. Now, if they're dinking around and they're opening another tab, let's say that they go back to that Beagle puppy and they are looking for, you can see I'm searching actually on another computer right here. I can actually kids can open it up. So just because I blocked that site and closed that site doesn't mean that they can't go back to it. Of course, you want to have a conversation with them at that particular point. And you might want to send them a message instead of telling them verbally. So how do we do that? Well, there's a couple ways. You'll notice up here in the upper right-hand corner that there's a chat. So when I select chat, I can actually send a message to that student. So I'm going to say, please do not open YouTube. Right, there's emojis there, and of course I spelled it wrong, so there you go, and I can send it. When I send it to the student, what happens is they get a little pop-up message that occurs on their screen. Now, I'm going to just close this for a second. You can't see that pop-up is in there, but I can see that chat has been enabled right there, and I can see my message. So you can see that there. Now, I can lock their device. So if I lock it and say, hello, and I lock their screen, they're going to get a message here that says, hey, it's locked. And it basically says, message from your teacher, hello. You can't see that, but that's what's on their screen. So if I close this up, I can see that it's locked, right? I can click on this, decide to unlock it if I want to. So nice little features. And again, when I close this up, if I had more students, I would see them all right here. All right. I can also sort students by first name, last name, and what have you. I also, if I had more than one student, you can see I can select only the ones that are online if I want to. Or if I wanted to, I could send messages just to a couple people. Now I'm clicking here and I'm going here and I'm sending a message. But I could, if there were more than one, I could click on this, click on another student, and I could lock just those students if I wanted to. I could also do some other features here when you check this right here. So this brings up a little bit different so if you have multiple students that you'd like to. Now I'm going to cancel that for now. So let's go back here and open it up. And I went to chat. You're also going to notice this thing that says annotate. When you select annotate, basically it's not the ability to write on their screens, but it does give you this little dot so you can direct kids where to go. Now there's only the kids that you've selected. So if I decide that I would like to use a purple one, I can pick purple, I can make it bigger or smaller. And so I can say, okay, got it. And if I start to click on their screen, they will actually see this dot wherever I am going. So it's just kind of like a laser pointer. So think of annotate as a laser pointer. There it is right there. All right. So I'm going to just close that. I don't want to annotate anymore. All right. I can always take a screenshot if there's something appropriate and I want to, go to talk to a parent or whatever. Although there are other ways to see exactly where they've been, but you could do that immediately if you'd like. If I had a really great website, I can also send a student or a variety of students a website, and that's what this is right here. Open a new tab. So if I went over here and I went into Tween Tribune, and this was a great article, I could copy this link. And when I'm over here, again, I'm going to X out of this. I can select a variety of people and I can send a link. I wish this would say send a link, but it says open a new tab to only the people that I've selected. Or I can click here and I can do it to just this one person. So if I decide to go here, it's going to say, what's the website? I'm going to paste it. I'm going to open that tab. And what's going to happen is on the student's device, which is here, they get it. That can be really, really helpful for some kids, especially younger kids, or kids who have other challenges. And now they are actually seeing the site that I have sent out. Now that doesn't mean that they can't go to other sites if they don't want to. They can. So the other thing that you can do is right now we are using chat, but if I use this send announcement feature, please see me, the dreaded message. When I select that, what happens on the student screen is that they cannot move forward until they press got it on their computer screen. So the difference between a chat and sending an announcement is a chat pops up a little chat screen that they can close, they can minimize and hide. An announcement, they must acknowledge that they've seen the message first. So I like to use announcements before I move forward. So I'm going to go over to my student laptop and I am going to select got it. And what that will do is then open up the screen. So I'm going to stop for a moment. Most of the things that we've done right now has been in classrooms. So when we go to classrooms, we go to the classroom that we want to go to. We see that there are chats there today, and I can go to this session. I also see at the top that I have 2 sessions running. I have this one and I have this one. So if I click here, if I have other students that are in here, I could see them. And if they're online or not online, you might see, not online. So good to know. And again, the basic navigation is up here and up here. Now, if I want to, I could end this session if I wanted to. So I could end this right here. I'm not going to at this particular point. And I could do the same here. Now, if for some reason I need more time, I can also do that as well. So I can change the time if I want to. So what do we have left? Well, I'm going to also go over here to student reports. In student reports, I could pick a classroom. So if I was to go here, I could select a student. And I only have one, but I'll go ahead and select this one. And I could say I would like to see some history of what this person has done. I can decide when I want that history to start and when I want it to end. Or I can use these options here. All right. So you can see that it has that information there. I'm going to view that report. And you can see right here, it's telling me the websites that the student is on, has been on for how long, and what other tabs have been open. So I can see that information here, the documents that they've been on. So it gives me kind of a snapshot of that information. I can specifically go to that if I need to. You can see the title. Some more information here. This is student reports. Right here, student reports. All right, going back. And let's open this one up. I can also look at some timelines. And this is just, you notice that these tabs are up here. Screens show me the screens of the students. Timelines is a very helpful thing. So I can see how much time they've spent on this particular article or other resources that they have active and open. So that can be helpful if I want to view some of that information. I can also select just one particular student and open it up as well. If I've taken any screenshots, you'd see it here. We're not going to go into calling students this particular point because we're not using CDL, and it is more of an advanced feature which we'll show in another video. So I can really see some data about my students by going into that class and opening the session and looking, instead of their screens, I can go to their timelines, or I can search and filter here. So just nice things to know. The next thing that I'm going to talk to you about is scenes. And scenes is the ability to prevent kids from going to specific sites. So if Susie always goes to TikTok or a certain YouTube or whatever, I can actually block it. So you can see right here, students can browse any website except what you block. So I could create that list if I want to by going create list. I could call this, and basically you'd probably want to call it something that is relevant. So no TikTok. You do not need to put in a description. Pick a color and then go up here to next. So right now it says enter a keyword of the website. So if I want to, I can go to TikTok and search for it. So you can see TikTok is access denied. So I can say I want to prevent them from going there. And you can see no TikTok. They're not going to be able to go there. So I can add as many as I want to. So I can continue to go to Facebook, search, and I can say add. So I'm adding all the things that they can't access. I also have this nice little help video. So if you want to learn more about scenes, and the way I kind of look at scenes is what kind of scene, like in a play, do I want kids to experience? And scenes are basically where can they go. So you can see that I have all these things in here, and if I save this, I've created a scene and it's called No TikTok. It has a certain color that's there. If I want to, I can go in here and I can delete them or rename them or edit them, so just be aware of that. Okay. So this is things that I'm going to block. I tend to use blocked websites more than I use allowed, because I never know if I say you can only see this site, this site, this site, that there might be another site that when they click on a link, it takes them to, and now they can't get to it. So be really careful about this. But it's basically the same process. You're putting in that list, and again, you can delete it and such forth as you need. Now, why and how do we apply scenes? What we want to do is go to our classrooms, and let's just go to this classroom right here and go to that session. Of course, I could have gone up here if that had been a little faster. When I get inside here, if I want to apply a scene, you're going to notice right here that I have this no scene applied. So I could apply a scene, and I can select which one I want to. So this one will tell you enable allowed websites. So these are, if I pick this scene, it's going to let that student only go to websites that I've selected in this scene. If I block these sites right here, if I select this, then everybody in this classroom cannot get to TikTok and stuff while I'm, working with them. So just be aware of that. At any time, I can take this off. So I can say, you know what, I don't want to use it. So now it's updated. I can also select only certain students. So if this person is the only one that is having issues with a specific site, I could apply a scene to this one, and I could go from here. All right, so it's kind of a nice feature. I'm going to cancel that for right now. All right, so we talked about classrooms, navigation here, active classrooms. We talked about scenes. We haven't really talked about calendar. We went over this a little bit. Calendar just basically shows you what you have scheduled. So if you've scheduled anything, you can select it and you can see a kind of a thumbnail of all the things that you have scheduled and what's coming up. This is very helpful. There's some nice how-to guides in here, video training and such forth. This, if you're having a real specific question, they're very responsive. You can actually send your question to this particular resource and they will email you back very promptly as need be. And of course, if you are done with your sessions, so I'm going to go back up here. If you have it scheduled, then it would automatically turn off. But if you don't have it scheduled, you want to make sure and end that. This is important, especially in secondary, because if the student goes to the next period and that teacher is using GoGuardian and they have specific scenes applied or other things that they're doing, you don't want to interfere with that. To that note, just know that if that does happen, the last person interacting with that student, because students will be in different classrooms, that would supersede anything before that. So if for some reason you forgot to close it, next period comes in, that student's in another teacher's classroom, whatever that teacher is doing, that will, because it's the most current, that will supersede it. All right, so just be aware of that. And again, we want to be as ethical as possible and use this tool in a way that is supporting, keeping our students safe, and guiding them to stay focused, not as a punitive tool. But at any particular point, if there is anything that you sense that is particularly harmful for our students, you want to take appropriate measures with your principal. Principals do have access to GoGuardian and all students, so they would be able to see similar things that you see as well. I hope this overview was helpful. If you have any questions, you can always get a hold of your K-12 digital literacy specialist, which is myself, Amy Gertenrich-Dwyer, Kristen Montagano, and Carolyn Kirschman.